Hey everyone, it's Brianna. Today I'm going to do a special request video. One girl asked a question and left it in our inbox, so I thought I would answer, especially since in our last video I said we'd be here for support, and I think it's a really good question, and it's one that I have a lot of experience with, so I hope I can help. Guys, I'm going to have to look at my phone to read the question, so excuse that. It says, "Hi guys, I was wondering if any of you could give me advice or point me in the direction of past videos on how to overcome the guilt that comes with putting yourself and your recovery first. Like no longer being friends with people who trigger, even if the triggering is done unintentionally. Deciding that certain friendships are too eating disorder focused to continue with, and how to deal with being okay about putting yourself first. It's something that I'm really struggling with at the moment, so any help would be appreciated." I really like this question. I've definitely had issues with it in the past, so I'll answer. But I've had a lot of friendships that were too eating disorder focused, and I don't think that was really my fault. I have a lot of friends in general, and maybe that sounds conceited, I don't know. It's just that I like to talk a lot and I like to have fun with people, and I don't really like being alone, so I have a lot of friends because of that, and I tend to be very outgoing and I'm very open, as you've probably seen from my videos, and I like to find things that I have in common with people. And when I would go to support groups and things like that, because people were so sick, as I've said in past videos, that the eating disorder hides a lot of who we are, and part of recovery is discovering who you are again, because a lot of that gets lost. But in these support groups, it was like, oh, well, I have an eating disorder in common with these people, so a lot of my relationships were very eating disorder focused. I'll even go as far to say at one point the majority of my friends had eating disorders, which is really sad when I go back and think about it, but that's really how it was. They just all did. And my treatment team at the time had to like pull me aside and pull me out of it and be like, maybe these groups aren't helpful to you, we see you getting worse. And I took that the wrong way and thought that maybe they don't think my eating disorder is severe enough, or things like that. But it was just the fact that I was trying to hang on to that commonality with people, and my eating disorder took a lot away too, so I didn't really know who I was. So I just identified myself as having an eating disorder, so I thought this was my group of friends. And in regular life, you have groups of friends based on interests. So if you have one group of friends, maybe you like to do one particular thing with them, and another group of friends like another particular thing, or you know, if you have a best friend, probably you and your best friend have things in common. But when I was with my eating disorder friends, it was like, oh, this is the eating disorder group. So I just was the type of person that I couldn't really recover, like in a group, or get much out of it, because I was too focused on comparing and that commonality with people. So when I was able to separate myself from groups, I recovered. So that really helps. And if you think your relationship with a person or a group of people is too eating disorder focused, it probably is. And you should really think about what you guys talk about, what you guys do, how much of your time is really spent on talking about the eating disorder or doing eating disorder things even. And if that's the majority of that time, maybe you should reevaluate that friendship. And maybe you're at the point where you can ask yourself if you would be friends with this person, like outside of your eating disorder, more than just being cordial or nice, but would you go hang out with this person? Does this person share your values? Does this person like you? Do you have fun with this person? And if you can say that you do, then maybe you can set some boundaries with this friendship so that you can still have it. But if your friends have eating disorders, you probably should set boundaries with them. Maybe you don't go to meals with them. Maybe go to a bookstore and limit your time with them. If you need to limit your time with somebody or stop being friends with them for a time because of your recovery, it's very important that you do, as hard as that may be. And I have a lot of personal experience with that. But as I've said before, you have to protect your own recovery. It has to be first, because if you don't get better, that helps nobody, especially not yourself. It's not going to help anybody if you don't recover. So as hard as it might be to set boundaries with some people, you really need to do that. And the one piece of advice I have is that you should make it about you. It's okay to say, right now I'm not healthy, so I need to take a break from our relationship. I don't feel that I'm able to support you in the way that you need. I'm not able to get the support I need from this relationship. You could say that you think that you guys need more help than you can give each other. And if you want to be friends with this person later, as I said in my other video, you can do that. Things change when people get better. Personalities come out, situations change. Boundaries aren't permanent, as I already said in another video. But you need to do what's best for you at the time. And I'm not saying that saying any of those things to anybody is easy. It's not. But the only way that you get better with saying no is actually doing it. You don't get better at anything without actually doing it. Practice is always a good thing. And it's so difficult, and I understand that. But it really needs to be done. And sometimes certain people in your life have eating disorders that need to stay in your life, or you really want to stay in your life. For example, my mom has one, and she would never admit to it, but I finally came to the point where I realized that trying to help her wasn't going to help me. Like, I used to confront her about it in the past and tell her like she needed to fix that, or she needed to eat, or she needed to do something differently, but I realized that has to come from her. And I love my mom so much, but I can't help her, so I've chosen not to comment on her actions or her behaviors or what she says or does, because I realize that I'm putting my recovery in jeopardy if I do that. And that is so hard. But I mean, it's obvious that I have experience with this, but since I love my mom and want to stay friends with my mom, I can't help her because that would end up hurting me. So I've had to learn to do that, and actually since I've stopped commenting or trying to help her, our relationship has gotten a lot better. But I realized that she has to ask for help. Like, she has to do the work, and if she's not willing to do that, I can't make her do that. You really just need to put yourself first, and if you have a therapist, maybe you can talk to your therapist about ways. But ultimately, like I've said before, you need to act in your own best interest and do what's best for you so that you can lead by example. And if that means stepping out of a relationship or doing something else differently, you can do that. You're most important. You live with your own life, and you have to deal with your own consequences to your actions. And nobody but yourself can tell you what's best for you. So do what's best for yourself. Really think about it. I hope this video was helpful, and talk to you guys later.